So, Skyweaver is a very Hearthstone-styled game. If you've played Hearthstone, then you will at least understand the basic fundamentals of this game. It's different from Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! And some other card games like that because you can't actually interact with the people on their turn. You don't have counter spells or trap cards or anything, but you basically can set up on your board and just hope it doesn't get removed, if that makes sense. Like, that's the only interaction that you have. On your turn, you can kill the opponent's stuff. If not, you just try to kill their face. The Mulligan System, how you start the game, is very different, and in my opinion, the best form of starting a card game that I've ever seen in any card game. Basically, you get offered 7 cards. You look for your 4 favorite, and you can pick them. Those are the 4 that you'll start the game with. So, if you see that you have a ton of big stuff, like this X means that it could be very expensive. You have a 5, you have a 4. Generally speaking, you don't want that many 4s, so you'll take like this 1, you'll take this 2, this 3, and 1 4 because you can. And that way you have something to play every single turn. It's a very, very useful mechanic in this game, and honestly, again, I think it's done better than any other, at least virtual card game in the game. Magic the Gathering, you get to start with more cards, but that's not super important. Anyway, key difference here that you can see right off the bat is the fact that your hero is something that can attack turn 1. Not only does it not have summoning sickness, you can attack with it right away, so if you use something that can buff your hero's attack, that's fantastic. I'll talk about that later. Its ability is called Banner, by the way. But you also have 32 health. Also, you have this spell on you, but I'll get into that in a second. Playing against the computer, so their turns are going to go very quickly. It's just going to happen immediately here. So, let me discuss this spell on him real quick before I get into any more details. Basically, your hero starts with a spell on him. It either gives you 1 mana or 2, depending on what turn you go. So for this particular one, you have a gain 2 mana spell that is put on your hero. I can play it, and I no longer have the spell. This being said, a lot of minions actually have abilities on them. This one has the Crush ability on him. See right there, next to his name, next to Titanic, it has the Crush words. I mean, it has the Crush little symbol in that little circle. And basically, whatever is in that little circle is the spell that they start with. However, this can sometimes be overridden. So, if I were to play Mr. Whiskers, he has this ability, right? But if he were to play a debuff card that does something, I can't really give you a good example right now, but basically, if it says give a unit a spell, and he targets this unit, this spell will go away, and I'll get a new one. So I'm just going to hit him in the face real quick, because that's the point of the game. You want to hit him in the face. There's nothing to really do this turn, because all my stuff is pretty expensive, and so we will move on. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? You have your standard attack with the swords above it and health, with the heart above it. You have certain removal spells and cards that give draw. It's a very standard game. Oh, what was that doing? Oh, death. Death effects, I'll talk about this later too, but can do a little bit of damage itself. And we'll just end the turn. Oh yeah, your mana goes up by 1 every single turn. But that's actually great for you because you never get mana screwed. It's different than Magic. And again, it's something that I like a lot in this game that Magic doesn't necessarily have. Guaranteed mana production. Also, fun fact, your mana can go up infinitely. You don't actually stop at 10 like you do in Hearthstone or at whatever the max is in Magic. I mean, however many land you have in your deck. Like some decks will have like 27. Then the max is 27 land theoretically. This one you can go up infinitely 1 every turn, but you also have some things that generate you more mana. Like this one, get 2 mana, mulligan your hand. I would get 2 mana for that turn so I could play something cool. I'm just going to play that and kill, and then hit him in the face. If it'll let me. There we actually will kill that, whatever. Doesn't actually matter. So yeah, mana goes up infinitely. It's a very Hearthstone style game. I'm pretty sure you can kind of tell what's going on while I'm playing this game. against this AI. And in terms of specific abilities, I will actually talk about that in a moment. So, yeah, that's about it for just the general gameplay. You also have your typical board wipe, deal 1 damage to all units or all enemies, give your ally 1 attack. And this is one last thing that I'm actually glad that I paused here. If it says all enemies, that means it targets the enemy hero. However, if it says to all units, it only does damage to the units. So I'm going to play this right now. It won't deal any damage to him. Right? But if I play Fury Mask, it'll do 1 damage to all enemies, being these 1-drops and him. See, it did 1 damage to him and he went down to 21, which is great. And then we just hit him, and then we'll just concede the game because I've done basically everything that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so all the basic mechanics of the game are as follows. I'm going to start with the defensive one. So first we have guard. Guard means that I cannot target the enemy hero until that guard unit has been killed. See, I literally can't, I let go, nothing happens, okay? Next thing is wither. When I actually do damage to the opponent, so let's just pretend I do some damage to this guy right here. I'll deal 1 damage to him, so his attack will also go down. Watch. So I did 1 damage. So basically wither means whenever I do damage, that guy loses that much attack. Next we have armor. Armor basically means that if I were to do damage to the opponent, reduce it by 1. So if I attack with a 1 attack minion, it doesn't do any damage, but if I attack with a 3 attack minion, it will deal 2. Stealth basically means that if I have a I have to attack the opponent first in order to actually attack these minions, which I will then do. Boom. And then we also have the glory effect, which means that glory, gain 1 mana. If I hit the opponent, my mana goes up, and that is about it. Last we have dust. Dust basically means we can kill everything, or not kill everything. Dust basically means things don't die, they don't go to the graveyard, so death effects don't take place. The last 2 abilities I forgot to mention are Lifesteal and Banner. So basically, Lifesteal basically means if I hit the opponent's hero, I gain life, but it has to be the opponent's hero. So if this 3 attack minion hits this minion, I don't gain any life, even though it says that this unit has Lifesteal as it says right there. That being said, this card also says Lifesteal, but if I target the opponent, I gain 3 health and I go up to 14. The next ability that I didn't actually talk about is the banner effect. So if I play a card that says banner, see how it says banner at the very top in slightly bolded letters. If I play banner, my attack goes up, and there are some minions that also give banner as well. So I didn't explain this before, but basically the death effect is whenever this unit were to die, it gets this effect. So I'm actually going to kill my own unit so I can show you this, but this one has the death effect. Both heroes get a dark spell. So we kill this, the death effect takes place, and our hero gets the death spell. And now this is another thing that I wanted to talk about really quick. If it says your hero gets a dark spell as opposed to you draw a spell, that literally means that your hero gets the spell on it. Like, it replaced the other spell that I had, the gain mana spell, and replaced it with this. Next we have the play ability. Basically this means when this unit is played, it gets this effect. Discard your 1 cost or less units in deck, and then give your hero +1 health for each. So when we play the card, the effect happens, and I only had 1 in my deck, so only 1 of them was discarded. This is different to summon, by the way. Some specifically have the keyword summon next to it instead of play. As you can see right there, it says play. But in some cases, it will have summon. And summon basically means if it's summoned from anywhere. Because some cards will say summon a minion from your graveyard, or the most recent minion that died in your graveyard. Or summon a random minion from your deck. And if it is summoned that way, it gets the effect. But if it says play, it does not. In that particular situation. In most cases, it's the exact same way for play and summon, but summon can be triggered by anything. Play has to be from your hand. Last unique thing about this deck building game is the deck building itself. You have the ability to make a 1 prism or 2 prism deck. And now let me show you the difference between the two real quick. So it's a little less complex than Magic the Gathering because you can't go like 4 prism wombo combo everything deck, but it's better than Hearthstone because you can have at least a little bit of variety here. So if you choose one class, let's say just Wisdom and create, your deck has to be 20 cards in size. But if you are to choose a dual prism deck, your deck has to be 30 cards in size, which I think is kind of interesting and is actually kind of good. Like if you take the sacrifice to lower deck flexibility by only choosing one prism, you're rewarded by allowing you to draw your cards more frequently. Because you only have 20 cards, so if you have a specific combo you want, or like, let's say I want to play just Wisdom, right? And so I have a card in here somewhere that says, like, put multiple cards into your graveyard. This guy, right? Discard your 1-cost card units in your deck, give your hero +1 for each. So I want to discard cards from my deck to the graveyard. It thins out my deck, and then it can make this guy better, because when he dies, I can dust 8 other cards in my grave of different elements to summon this unit. So if I play him, and I have a ton of 1-drops of different elements, so I can activate my Sky Phoenix's ability, that's really good. And if I have only 20 cards, my odds of drawing them, are a lot higher than if I had a dual class or dual prism deck, because it would be 1 in 30 chance instead of a 1 in 20 chance. I know that's not how statistics work. The odds of me drawing the card would be less because there are 10 more cards in the deck. There are 10 more cards that could potentially be drawn, and it's like pulling out of a hat. After your starting turn, you have 26 cards in your deck. Each turn after that is like a 1 in 26 chance, a 1 in 25 chance, 1 in 24, as opposed to 1 in 16, 1 in 15, 1 in 14, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of nice. The next thing that I would like to talk about, and the last two things actually, is you can copy and paste decks. Okay, so you can go to a deck code. You can copy the deck code right here. If you didn't see that, look at your deck list, bottom left-hand corner of that. You click it, you press copy deck code. Then you can go to new deck, place it by Control V, putting it in here, or just, pasting it in here. And if you create the deck, it'll create exactly the same deck. So if you ever have somebody on Discord, there is a Discord for this channel, as you can see right here. I'll bring it. I don't know why it's not working. Here we go. Boom. Discord. We go to beta decks sharing. Some of these people, when it loads, I'll do that in a second. When it loads, there will be deck codes in here that you can copy and put in the deck string. One last thing that I would like to share, two last things actually, I lied the first time, is that every single one of these cards in here is a singleton. So I have 30 unique cards in this deck. When it says 30 cards, I don't have duplicates. I can't have a duplicate of my Bomb Sky Phoenix, or my Bomb Dragon Wrath, or some of my good late game cards like Gift of Swords that draws me a ton of cards, or the Beast that gives me, that's a 6/6 big minion. I can't have duplicates, which I think is really, really good and promotes unique styles of play, because it's very easy to flex things in and out. Because in Hearthstone, you can run duplicates of things. So in theory, you find your 15 best cards, and those are fairly easy to pick. You get duplicates of them, maybe a couple less duplicates because you have some legendaries in there. But in this particular case, you have a lot of cards in the deck. So like at some point, if you're like, you know what, this one card talks, he's not fitting in my deck, I can take him out because there's only one of him. Each one of these are singleton decks. I can easily flex in one random card. I could flex in like this Buckler up if I wanted to. Obviously I wouldn't because that's just not a good card, but I could if I wanted to because it's all singleton and it's all really, really cool. So as you can see here, boom, here are deck codes. I could copy this. I could copy this. Actually, let's just show you real quick because it's here. We'll copy. We will get out of that, sorry. New deck, paste. Some of the cards in this deck are locked. Oh, well, I haven't unlocked all the cards yet, but if I wanted to, I could view this deck, except instead of view, I would say create, and it would create this deck for me. And I think that's pretty cool. I can't click build yet because these cards are locked, but whatever. Oh, I've built it 3 times? Well, that's cool. And if I wanted to, I could replace these cards and put in cards my own. And I created the deck based on what I have, which is actually kind of cool. I didn't know that you could do that. I actually literally just discovered that myself. You can still create the deck if you want. It's just the cards that you can't play will be locked, and I could easily just switch them out for something else. So, hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I actually just learned something new myself. I've played this game. I have almost all of the cards unlocked. Literally all of them except for like 18. Is that quick math? 19? Ah, shoot, no. I have all the cards except for 19 cards unlocked. So I've played this game a decent amount. I know what I'm talking about. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll be more than happy to try to answer any other questions. I don't know. It's just a really, really fun game. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. See ya.